Hello, this is Christeen Skinner on the 13th of February 2025. Now, I'm new to this YouTube channel business, as you know, but I'm being guided by my lovely assistant, Julie. But I've been trying to work out exactly what kind of material to present. And for the moment, I think what I'd like to do is focus on the kind of questions that people raise, the emails that come into my box, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? So I thought I would just choose one of those. And although I'm going to be developing this theme in my monthly class, which is this time on February the 23rd, I thought we'd have a quick look at the Hang Seng Index. This is the Hong Kong index, which has done remarkably well since the start of the year. Now, it's a really interesting chart because it came into being on the 31st of July, 1964. Which some of you will remember was a time when the two planets, Uranus and Pluto, were together on one side of the zodiac, and Saturn and Chiron were virtually opposite them at the other side. And those of you who know your history very well will also know that the 1960s, the middle 1960s, was a time of enormous social, economic, and political change. So it was new on the block, and to some extent, it is still something of a teenager. But the real question is, why has it done so well since the start of the year? Let me see if I can show you exactly how well it's done. If I do share my screen, and let's see if I can do this. There we go. There we are. And you can see this is the Hang Seng Index, which is listed as HSI. And there it had its low in the middle of January. It was about the 10th of January. But since then, it's been an upward climb from a low of 18,700 all the way up here to yesterday, 21,800. And it was a really good question. This is, why has it done so well? Those of you who perhaps aren't so familiar with these colors here, where it's a blue line, it means that the market closed up on the day. A red line showed that it actually closed lower on the day. But the broad sweep of things is that the Hang Seng has been doing extremely well. And the question really is, why? Because we know that we've got Mars in retrograde position through until February the 24th, which is something I'm going to cover really quite strongly in the monthly event on the 23rd. But let's just have a look at the chart for the Hang Seng itself. Now, I'm not actually sure whether or not we should be using 9 o'clock in the morning, which is when the early morning trading begins, or 9:30, which is the official start of day. I've chosen to go for the official one at 9:30, which puts these two planets, Uranus and Pluto, at one side of the chart near what they call the ascendant, the rising sign, and the other ones that I mentioned, Saturn, but this time with the two asteroids, Astrea and Vesta, together with Chiron on the other side. So this was, as I said, it was a remarkable time in the middle 1960s when people were stretched to think differently. But I think perhaps one of the reasons that the Hang Seng has done so very well in recent weeks is that it came into existence with Mars on the world axis at 0 degrees of Cancer, very close to the node, which was at 1 degree of Cancer that day. And you may know that since the 10th of January, the lunar node presently it's just gone over the boundary between Aries, and because it goes retrograde, it's just gone into Pisces now. So in other words, just as the Hang Seng was taking off, the node was at right angle to the natal position, which clearly, I mean, we can see the effect of this. It absolutely puts a real spurt on. It gave it tremendous momentum and energy. Of course, the big question is, when is it going to stop? And that's something that I'm going to cover in the monthly class if you're interested. Chiron is the that runs between Saturn and Uranus, and it's presently on one of the key financial degrees. It's at 19 degrees of Aries. And when I wrote the Exploring the Financial Universe book, I noted that when there was a major or catastrophic financial event, very often there was something at 19 degrees, either of that degree or Cancer or Libra or Capricorn. In other words, the whole of the the cardinal axis of 19 degrees. And presently Chiron is hovering there now. And yes, I am absolutely certain that within the next few weeks, we're going to hit some financial buffers. And again, I'm going to be talking about that on the 23rd of February. You can find out more about that class and other things that I'm doing by clicking on the links below. But for now, if you've liked this approach, which is to look at a chart, a financial chart and a horoscope, please send me a message, and also with questions, and maybe we can look at Bitcoin or HBAR or Ripple. You send the question and I'll do my best to answer. Thank you indeed for watching, and please subscribe to this channel.